So Gunsmith, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and who were your musical influences when you were small?
So I've always been extremely into music and films, and I see music and films as very, very closely related to each other. And being a Bollywood fan, and you know how every Hindi movie has a huge musical component, so I've always thought of music as storytelling, and storytelling as being incomplete without music. So ever since I was a kid, I was really into well-told stories. You know, I used to watch Hollywood films, Indian films, and musically, I was attracted to anything that told a good story or had a lot of soul. So I liked, you know, A.R. Rahman stuff, Nadeem Shravan stuff, and I also got into Western stuff like hip hop, like Eminem at a very early age. That was the first rapper I listened to. So this was back when I was in India, growing up in Delhi, and I was still used to listen to Eminem, and I really found it intriguing, and how he was describing his lifestyle, but made it relatable so that anyone listening to it was drawn to it and felt like they were talking about them, right? So I like that unifying aspect of hip hop, and that's why I've always been into hip hop. But Bollywood is a part of me that I can never let go. So that's why in my music I sort of bring the two together.
When you were in Delhi, was it sort of hard to explain to others what hip hop was? Because I'm sure there wasn't a good scene back then, if you think about it. So how did you sort of get into hip hop in New Delhi, and how did that transform when you moved over here?
Right. So I actually, around the time I got into hip hop, I came to Canada soon after. So I came to Canada when I was only 14, and I remember Eminem's album came out in. When I was 13, and Real Slim Shady was it was a global hit, right?
Yeah.
And you would go on Napster or something, and you're looking for MP3s to download, and that's the one that had the most downloads. So I'm like, what is this? And I would check it out, and it just blew my mind because I hadn't heard anything like that. And then I used to watch pro wrestling, right? And a lot of these wrestlers had, all of a sudden they had rap themes, and this whole rap music was so interesting to me. So that's how I started listening to it. But for quite a while, I was into heavy metal and rock as well, because I just like that intensity and that passion. So that sort of shaped my teenage years, like the rock music and the rap. And then I didn't get into actual songwriting until I was maybe 19 or so. But ever since I was a kid, I used to express myself creatively in all kinds of ways. I used to write poetry. I used to come up with little board games that I designed. I used to write short stories, stuff like that. So I think now it's all converging together. That was sort of my childhood growing up. I was just, I was actually a very academic kid. I still am. I mean, I work as a mechanical engineer.
Oh, wow.
So I've always been the academic kid who uses all his free time to sort of express himself. So that's my background.
Did you think that you moving from Delhi to Toronto at a tender age would sort of shape up your creativity? Because I think that would be, because you spoke about how you were predominantly into music, but then you got into writing. So shifting, was it tough for you in the beginning, and did that help you creatively?
I think it did, because coming here I changed, right? And because the culture here is different, people here are different. Here there's more of that concept of personal space and not being really into someone's business.
True.
And I always had that mentality growing up in India, and so did my family. We've always been very free-thinking people. Sorry. So coming to Canada, we fit right in, but I never let go of the core Indian values that I like. I like that togetherness in family. Those are not people that I would consider alien, but sometimes I'm not so close to friends or things like that. So I have a unique mix of these Indian and foreign values. So I think coming here, first few years were hard and tough, but eventually I developed a personality that works with both cultures, and that's why now I'm able to write music that has that urban feel, that Western feel, but it has these Hindi lyrics that Desi people can understand and relate to. So I want to keep both, the mind and the heart alive, right? I don't want to write purely emotional lyrics. I don't want to write purely intellectual lyrics. I want to sort of marry the two.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So speaking about creativity, When you sort of got into hip hop and because you're predominantly into heavy metal and all that stuff,
Right.
did you speak to your parents about not pursuing music, but maybe learning it as a child?
Yeah.
And what was their reaction when you told them that, hey, I might want to write my own lyrics and I might want to pursue a career in hip hop?
Right. Actually, it's funny. I never liked being educated in anything artistic. So
Oh, okay.
I find it. I found it a bit annoying for someone to teach me how to express myself, and I think I still do, but now I'm more open-minded. Now I go online and I read all these articles about how to write better, how to compose better, how to mix your music better, how to tell better stories. So I'm always reading and researching, but I'm sort of an independent learner. So even in class, I never paid attention, but I would go home and learn everything myself. So I'm an independent learner. So I never really asked my parents about anything. I would just tell them, hey, this is what I'm doing, and usually they were very cool with it, unless they thought I was doing something wrong. But it's pretty innocent, right? If you have a hobby and you're creating something, they would not interfere unless they see you doing something wrong. And even my lyrics, I don't have any obscene lyrics. Sometimes they are emotional, very passionate, and they're dealing with dark matters. But they're not something that's trying to corrupt people. Like I usually don't even make party music, but I can make a fun song. But I try not to make. I try to have a sense of responsibility with the songs I'm making, because the youth is easily impressionable.
That's true.
So I'm almost 30 now. So if I'm making music for people who are 16, 18, 20, then I don't want to corrupt them, right? I can easily make a song about drugs or alcohol, but that's easier to do, and you can get more hits that way. But I don't want to do that.
Sure.
I'd rather try to make a fun song that is not boring, but at the same time it's not, taking them in the wrong direction. So.
I think you made a great point. Speaking of you coming from an intellectual background, you just mentioned you're a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
How that just boggles my mind. Because if you're interested in music, were you not pressurized to go into being in the sort of, because we have that sort of culture that please get educated and then you can pursue whatever you want.
Yeah.
But do you think in a good way, because I would love your take on this, because most kids, they think if I just do art, I should just go into art. But they don't see that if you pursue mechanical engineering, you respect your art even more.
Yeah.
So how did you taking mechanical engineering as a career sort of help you creatively?
I think I owe everything to my education and my career, because it's because of that I have the time and money to pursue my passions. If I was struggling to be an artist, and I didn't have the money or the time, I think it's hard to create under those negative circumstances. Some people feed off of that when they're in that crisis mode, but I personally am a person who wants that freedom, right? That when you feel relaxed, that's when I create my best stuff. When I just feel like there's no stress, there's no tension, then I can chill out, and then that's when I can create all these cool stories, because I'm not bothered with my life's struggles, right? So that's why I have a job right now that's 9 to 5, and there's not a lot of overtime. So I think that's great for any artist to try to get that sort of situation in your life.
True.
If you can get a decent degree, get a decent job, and keep your evenings and weekends free. Just take out the stuff that is frivolous, right? You don't have to go out and party all the time. If you are trying to be an artist, you got to be home, you got to be writing, you got to be composing and working on your craft every moment you get, because you're getting older, and you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, and life's going to catch up, and then you're going to find out one day you're 40 and you never pursued your passion. So that's what I'm doing now. Now that I have the time and luxury, I'm going to really go hard, but at the same time keep my career, because music's any art is so unpredictable. So unless you make it really, really big, and you're getting paid like 10,000 per show or something like that, then you're not really killing it yet. So you have to keep your career alive as long as you can, and you'll know when it's the right time to transition.
So that's a a really good point. But let's not talk about like sort of the history anymore. Let's talk about
Sure.
your music.
Sure.
How was your first experience on stage? Because I know that I've spoke with a lot of artists, and they always say that my first time on stage was just awful.
Yeah.
They either get scared, they forget the lyrics. So how was your first time on stage, and what did you perform on stage?
So I used to rap more in English. Actually, I used to rap only in English,
Yeah.
right? So remember when I was saying when I came to Canada, I sort of blended into the culture.
Yeah.
So I almost forgot Hindi for a while because I became so westernized for a few years that I was only into Western hip hop. I used to write English lyrics because I was emulating these rappers I looked up to in the West. Back then, we didn't have these Indian
That's
rappers.
true. That's
You know
true.
what I mean? So Indian hip hop actually didn't exist back
That's true.
then, or it was basically nothing, right?
Yeah.
So my first experience, I was at Waterloo, and I started. I used to make beats on my computer. I
Mhm.
still do, but that's how I got started.
Yeah.
I made beats, and then one day, just for fun, I started writing to it, and I wrote some English raps. And once I had enough songs ready, I performed at this lounge near University of Waterloo, which is where I went.
Mhm.
And I went and performed, and it was the totally wrong audience for hip hop, right? And all these guys were like totally unfamiliar with urban music. They
Yeah.
were all into like rock and roll and
Oh,
stuff,
no. Yeah.
and just. Yeah, it was just off. Like they all listened to my work, they enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
they were like, "What? This is not a good fit for the," because it was a very like upscale type of lounge, and
Oh,
it just there was no hip hop there.
Okay.
But I went and I performed, and I was nervous as hell, right? But
Mhm.
I did it, and I was as my like 5 or 6 of my boys came out and they supported me, so it was cool. That's how I got started. Yeah, this was when I was I think 19, and I'm 29 now, so 10 years later, I'd say it was worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Let's speak about your music composing aspect.
Sure.
We spoke about your rapping aspect, but what got you into making beats or making productions
Yeah.
for yourself? Was it just because you wanted to be sort of your own band,
Yeah.
or was it because you wanted to collaborate with other artists and reach out with your own music? Say, hey, let's collaborate because I have more music. I can rap and you can sing or whatever.
Right. I think ultimately I want to showcase myself as a lyricist and as a rapper.
Mhm.
And everything else I do right now is in support of that. So
Okay.
sometimes, if I want to make a good song, but I need a female singer,
Mhm.
then I'll reach out to the best female singer I know or who's right for that song. So that's how the collaborations happen. Or sometimes I work with an artist, who's more established, obviously because it can help get the word out.
That's true.
And like for example, I worked with Shirley Satia for
Mhm.
a few videos, and she's a YouTube star. And
Mhm.
even I've known her since before she was a YouTube star, and she was just getting started on YouTube. But I really liked her voice. But her becoming a YouTube star also helped get me out there on YouTube and Facebook. So I always remember the people that sort of worked with me before
Mm.
anyone knew my name. Not that I'm a star now or anything,
Yeah.
but it's good to have some loyal relationships with
That's
other
right.
artists. Like with me and Pariche, like we've been working together for a year and a half, and I've written a lot of his stuff, and now he's properly stepping into Bollywood, where he's
Mhm.
composed almost the entire film, Love Shuda, that's coming out in February.
Yeah.
And I have a song in that film as a lyricist. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of work that goes behind this. So like we've worked together for a while, and I did basically his most of his album I wrote the lyrics for. It's called 4 Steps Forward.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of groundwork that goes into, sometimes a single comes out or a song comes out and you feel like the person's an overnight success, but
Yeah.
they have, usually put a lot of work in behind that. So yeah, I think your question was more about collaborations.
No, but
and-
that does sort of tie into that.
yeah.
Because I read about you, and you not only collaborated with Pariche, but you also collaborated with Jonita Gandhi.
Yeah, that's
Now
right.
she was based here. She was in Ontario,
Yeah,
and now she's working with A.R. Rahman and everybody.
right.
Also, you worked with Mohit, and you have
Yeah.
a band with him. So could you
Yeah.
speak about working with these 3 artists and how they shaped you,
Sure.
and how you helped each other out? Because
Mhm.
it does feel like the artists are more available for one another,
Mhm.
Because if you think about it, there would be insecurity that, hey, this guy made it here, this guy made it there, and then
Yeah.
there would be that awkward clash. But for you guys, it seems it's just out there, and you guys are just helping each other out. So how has it been with these three people?
That's a great point. I think you have to recognize that if someone is driven enough and talented enough, then it's a matter of time before they're gonna make it. So that's why I don't think there's any jealousy or bad blood, because we know that, you know, we keep focusing on the music and on the product, and you know, sooner or later everyone's time will come, as long as they don't get lazy or back out, right? So with me and Mohit, I met him in 2011 at a singing event, right? And that I've been working with him since. And basically 2012 and 2013 we worked together a lot. We put out an EP called Conquest. It was a 4-song album.
Okay.
We auditioned for some record labels here. We actually got on the Canadian college radio charts. So yeah, we got some airplay with that, and and we put out some videos like Bollywood Star, and then we did Dil Ke Taar, for which we roped in Junita. So Junita is a mutual friend of me and Mohit, and you know, she's had an amazing voice. She's been singing since she was a little kid, right? So we knew her when she was just doing shows around Brampton, Toronto, and always been a fan of her voice, right? And back then, things were just starting to materialize for her, and she was gonna go on tour with Sonu Nigam. And but you know, she's always been extremely humble and down to earth. So all of that success, it's not like it was going to her head or anything. And she heard the song that I had composed, Dil Ke Taar, and she liked the lyrics in the song and the melody, so she was down. So we shot a really cool video for it. I wrote the story, and that was my first time directing videos, so it was a cool experience. Put it up on YouTube, and it got a good response. And so and then I did another song with Jonita recently called Pinjra, and
I heard that. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, and it's just that was just an audio, but that was also like with Jonita, with Mohit, all these guys, and with Shirley. You know, they're fans of music just like me. So if we have a great song, chances are they're gonna want to work on it, because ultimately we're all students of music. We're all learning each day, and we learn from each other. And if you have a positive vibe and you're humble, then you will attract that, and you'll work with good people. So yeah.
Let's talk about some of the gigs you've done, because I'm not joking you. I think I saw you performing at Desi Fest 2012? It's 2012, 2013.
2013.
2013.
Okay, cool.
And I saw you there, and I saw many artists, but you sort of stuck out because everyone had this odd, they were singing good, but you had this energetic sort of vibe going on. And I think you were enjoying yourself. So the gigs like Desi Fest, how did they help artists like yourself reach out to other people? Because being a South Asian artist in Canada has to be extremely tough. Because you're sort of reaching to a limited audience. Because I know we say there's a big South Asian community here, but at the same time, you would love to collaborate with someone in Bollywood and reach out to a bigger mass. So how did these shows help you out?
I think these shows are sort of like a proving ground, where if you can rock these shows and do a really good job, it just shows that you're ready. And beyond that, I mean, we're not like the UK, where we have a really unified scene where, you know, because I mean, a lot of times in Desi Fest, we'll have artists from the UK or from Bollywood. So there are some really good Canadian guys. I mean, there's like Prophecy, and there's Fateh, and all these guys are doing well, right? But ultimately, they go to the UK or they go to Bollywood, and that's where they find the success, and then they bring it back here. So, or they make it big on YouTube. So that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, on YouTube and Bollywood. I mean, of course, I want to rep Toronto, and you know, I want to make Canada proud. But I mean, I'm an Indian first and foremost.
That's true.
And you know, as long as what I'm doing has that Indian soul, like it doesn't matter to me where I am. I mean, I love Canada as well. But I mean, I gotta go where my passion takes me.
I have a really interesting question on that. You said something really interesting. Do you think if Toronto or Ontario had a thriving music scene for South Asian artists, it would be easier for them to come out? If there were, suppose, more record labels that helped out South Asian artists? Or even, YouTube is a great medium, no doubt, but if there was a much more better record label that helped out local artists to get established in Toronto or anywhere,
Yeah.
like London,
Yeah.
do you think that is needed here, or do you think it should be sort of outsourced to Bollywood or London?
I think it's just a byproduct of success. I mean, if someone is successful enough, then they have the draw to bring artists here,
Mhm.
right? Like for example, like now RDB, like Manj Music, he's doing big things in Bollywood.
Yeah.
And Pariche, the guy I work with, he's doing huge things. He's done a whole soundtrack for a film, which is amazing, right? It's not like he got a single or
Yeah.
something random. It's not like an item song. He's doing the whole soundtrack. So that's huge for a guy out of Toronto.
Yeah.
So now if Pariche is here and if he's calling in singers from Bollywood to come
Mhm.
sing for him in Toronto, there you go. Like that's how the scene gets built.
Mhm.
So it's about when you find the success, if you totally shift base, then
Mhm.
you're gone, right?
Yeah.
But if you still keep your base here,
Mhm.
that's how that scene develops. So
Mhm.
if we have enough of these successful guys here that still stick around, then we will slowly build that scene up, and that's how the labels will get formed, because it all comes from success. Like Jay-Z and Diddy and all these guys, they became successful artists, and
Mhm.
then they became the businessmen as well.
That's true.
Because then they have the money, they have the power to fund other artists. So you gotta first make money,
Yeah.
and then you can help others, right? So
Yeah, that's true. Now let's talk about your album, which I don't want to get the name wrong. It's called Year of Banduk,
Year of the Banduk, yeah.
and it was released this year.
That's right.
And you have another. You said that it's a project. It's called the Rap Storybook.
Yeah.
So could you talk about both of these real quick? Because it would be nice for people to reach out to your music even better.
Sure thing. So everything I've put out is on my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So it's just youtube.com/Gunsmith Reloaded. So if you just type that in, you'll find my channel, and all my work is there. So Year of the Banduk is just 5 original songs I did. So they're just pure rap,
Mhm.
and I'm just talking from my own perspective.
Mhm.
So they're songs that are just about my state of mind, and they're designed to be motivational. So if you're looking for motivational, positive rap music,
Mhm.
that's what Year of the Banduk is.
Mhm.
And then Rap Storybook is I actually took 3 old Bollywood songs, and I
Mhm.
did updated hip hop versions of them, and I'm also telling a story. So for example, there's this song. I took the song Meri Mehbooba from
Mhm.
Pradesh, and I turned it into a song called Still Alive, which is a supernatural story, and it's very cool and different. Like when you hear it, you'll probably think that this is not something I've heard before.
Mhm.
Where I took that song and I twisted the meaning around about a man's obsession with the late actress Madhubala. So
Mhm.
it's about how the Meri Mehbooba is like about a woman coming to life from a picture. So now he's obsessed with an actress who's dead, but he's only got her picture. So it's
Mhm.
sort of I take random ideas and I put them together. So that's what Rap Storybook is about.
Mhm.
And so both of those, they're 8 songs and 8 music videos, and they're all on my channel.
What was your aim for Year of the Banduk? Because that sounds like an interesting concept, making it strictly about rap. And what motivated you to create that? And did you produce that entire album by yourself?
Yeah, I produce all my stuff. It's all like beats that I've been making for years that
Mhm.
I'm putting out. Same with the Love to Miss You, the song I put out. I produced that myself. I produce because I want to get my voice out there. So
Yeah.
the music is what supports that. And production is something that is skill that I've developed over the years. And so what Year of the Banduk is about is it's all produced by me, and it's just my perspective.
Mhm.
And it's songs like I performed it at Desi Fest last year.
Uh-huh.
And so it's just material for me to perform and just get my voice out there, because I've done so much diverse stuff that people sometimes are like, what's the Gunsmith about?
Oh, okay.
So if you listen to Year of the Banduk, then it tells you what I'm about as a person.
So let's talk about your new single that I heard recently. It's called "Love to Miss You,"
Sure.
and it's featuring Abhinandita.
Yeah.
If I'm not pronouncing that wrong. So what was the aim behind that? And you also shot the video of that, and you
Mhm.
shot other videos of your own songs.
Yeah.
So what you're multi-talented in that way, because you shoot your on your videos, you produce your own music, you
Yeah.
rap. So let's talk about the motivation for that, as well as what is the story behind this new single that you just put out.
So, Love to Miss You is just a song about, it's just a romantic song like Dil Ke Taar. So, after Dil Ke Taar, I wanted to do another romantic video because I've been doing some darker stuff, some more aggressive stuff. So, now I'm like, let's do one that's more chilled out and just more soulful and romantic. So, I had some melodies in my head, so I just turned them into lyrics and I made the beat. And the beat is very modern. It's like it's basically modern hip hop. So it's like trap music, and like the song. I don't know if you've heard Trap Queen and songs like that. So it's a modern R&B type love song, right? So that's how that song came to be. And Abhinandita is the singer I recently met, and she's classically trained, and she has a beautiful voice. So I worked with her on this, and we shot it at University of Toronto because I really like the way it looks, and it's got a little bit of that fantasy look to it. And we shot it in the fall, so the foliage and everything looked beautiful. So and it was just fun to shoot there. So that's how that project came to be.
Do you like shooting your own videos? Because that's a different aspect from creating music. So how's that?
I've always like I was saying at the beginning, films and music, I've always thought that they're tied to each other. So sometimes I hear the song and I just see some visuals in my head, and I want to go and shoot it that way. And sometimes I'm at a place and I look at the architecture, or I look at the people, and certain songs or words come to my mind. So that's why I like to just merge everything together, because I feel like if I make a music video where I did everything on it, then that's really all my creativity squeezed into one project. So I love to do that. That's why I want to get into films and do some screenwriting and make some short films next year as well. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But I love doing everything because it really allows me to get into the story, and ultimately the story is what it's all about, right? Like, what story are you trying to tell? So it's a little bit of you have to put on the director's hat, and then because if you're like a film director, you have to understand all aspects of what's going on. So I think ultimately I'm slowly going towards that.
Could you sort of tell us about your upcoming project? You spoke about Love Shuda.
Yeah.
Could you tell us the song name if that's possible?
Yeah. Not just yet, but I can tell you I have one song in the film, and it's a happy song, and I think everyone will be able to dance to it and enjoy it. It's like a wholesome family song, and it's coming out very, very soon because the film's out on February 4th.
Yes.
So anytime in the next few weeks, they're going to release it. They just released the second song from the film. It's called Peene Ki Tamanna. It's Pariche and Vishal Dadlani, and then the first song was called Mar Jaye, Atif Aslam and Mithun, and that one's doing really well on YouTube. So they're slowly releasing all the songs. So mine's I don't know which one it'll be, but it's coming out soon.
So is that the only project you're doing right now for Bollywood, or is there more work, independent music coming out soon?
Right. So Pariche and I, we work together a lot, and we're in touch. And basically, after this song comes out, we're gonna go from there. Because. This soundtrack was sort of Pariche's and my focus for a while. So, but independently, I keep working all the time. So, I'm actually working on another rap single for myself. So this one will be just me, and it'll be a little bit darker, a little bit more aggressive. So, because I wanna get back to that as well, and so I'm gonna put that out in a month or so, and I'm working on a short film, which I'm writing the script for right now. So those are my two projects, and just waiting for Love Shuda to be out.
How can fans or any new people who want to listen to your work or get in touch with you or even collaborate with you? How can they reach to you? Do you have a Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube that you can give a shout out?
Yeah, I'm on everything. I mean, if you go on YouTube, I'm just at youtube.com/Gunsmith Reloaded. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/gunsmith.music. So Facebook's the best place to reach me. So just like my page, message me on Facebook, and I'll respond. And I mean that's where I connect with most of my fans. And I'm also on Twitter. Just search for the Gunsmith, and yeah, hopefully a Wikipedia page will be coming up soon as well.
That is needed.
Yeah. So I'm online and I communicate with all my fans. So yeah, definitely give me a shout out if you like my work and if you want to collaborate, and we can yeah.
And last but not least, I would like I would like you to give advice to anybody who is a artist and who wants to come out.
Right.
What would you tell that kid who's sitting in a room bashing it out, his guitar or piano?
Right.
What would you advise to him or her that what they could do to sort of put their work out, or not lose motivation, because people get demotivated when they don't find work or anything. So what would you advise them?
I would say just music ultimately is about happiness. It's about it's an escape from everything else. So just remember that it's not something that's desperate. It's not something that's bad, no matter what anyone tells you. So if music gives you happiness, then do it out of happiness and keep doing it. Just never give up. And meet people, network, be nice to people, be humble, and because everyone is doing it because they love it, hopefully. So don't put anyone else down, because they're just following their own dream.
That's
And
true.
some people get really competitive, but it's not about being competitive. It's about keep honing your skills as much as you can, because ultimately you'll get so good that no one can keep you down. So just never give up and keep working on your craft.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.